Hello, fellow captains, and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator. We are continuing our trip up the California coast in the Cessna 208 Caravan, the California Dreams bush trip. We are on leg number 2, which is going to be 24 minutes, heading from PALMDALE to Barstow. Let's go ahead and hop into the flight. You can get an overview here of what the complete route is going to look like from beginning of the trip to the end, but we're somewhere in the second little portion of that. We're gonna hop into the plane, get our GPS and all of that set up so that we can autopilot throughout the trip, and then go visit all of the points of interest along the way. So we'll get up in the air, I'll read off a point of interest, and then we'll go fly to it. It's taking a little bit longer to load than it usually does. Normally by the time I get to the end of my little intro here, we're already in the plane and moving on. So of course, the timing is a little bit not great. But isn't it always that way in life? You're always trying to get things done, and things are getting in your way and preventing you from doing it. But it would be nice if the game would actually load, because we have things to do. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Come on. You know you want to. I should have paused already. Yeah, I think I might have to pause the video and wait for it to load. Okay, it did eventually load. Not sure why it took so long, but you know, it is what it is. I do need to make sure, though, that I adjust this so you guys get a slightly better view. There we go. I always forget to hide my taskbar there to make the window a little bit bigger. So let's hop into the plane here. Oh, parking brake's not on. Hop into the plane here, make sure our GPS is set up, and it looks like it might be. So the next waypoint is USR 07, which is this one. So in the last bush trip, we had to continually reset this, but hopefully it's going to work. Let's get our CDI set up. Come on. Okay, seriously. Okay, not sure what's going on here. Come on. Let's get our CDI. Can you... okay. Oh, because I'm pressing the wrong thing. I keep forgetting this is not a touch screen. Even though it comes up as a clickable object, it's not. Okay, CDI is set to the GPS. Our altitude we'll set to, let's say 3,500 for now, just because. Vertical speed set to 1,200. I think that's the vertical speed for that. We're going to be in nav mode, and I think that's all of our autopilot stuff set. So, here we go. Maybe. Okay, not sure what the delay was there. Get ourselves up in the air and on our way. Okay, seriously, pitch up, please, thank you. All right. And let's see here, autopilot is, oh, it's on the other panel up here. I always forget that. Autopilot, there we go. Is it seriously going to turn us all the way around the other direction? Is it heading to the correct place? I don't know. Yeah, USR 07, okay. Wasn't sure if we were on the right track there. All right, first point of interest is going to be Rosamond Dry Lake. After launching from Plant 42 Airport, head north towards Rosamond Dry Lake, located within Edwards Air Force Base. Yeah, I don't think so. Somehow I don't think that they would let us fly through Edwards Air Force Base, but I guess this is fantasy and it's letting us do things we otherwise would not be able to do. So the first part of this trip, I think the first entire leg of the trip was flying over the city of Los Angeles, so we saw a bunch of cool stuff that was very nice and interesting to do. But now we're out here in kind of the farmlands area, which isn't a bad thing, it's just not going to be as many things to see. I personally prefer to be over terrain like this because, first and foremost, I'm not a big fan of cities. I don't like being in congested areas and having a bunch of stuff going on. I like peace and quiet and all of that. And the weird thing is I've spent pretty much my entire adult life in cities because that's where the work has been. That's where the work has been. But really trying to get out of that. Really trying to get back into my travel trailer and start moving around, and hoping that this channel is going to grow to the point where it can provide me with enough money to do that full time. That would be really cool. And then I could start a travel channel and have 2 different channels going at the same time, and hopefully the combined income will provide me with the lifestyle that I'm looking for. I have to wait and see if that actually happens, though. All you can do is try and hope. That's pretty much all you can do. So as I say in all of these, if you look down there at the distance to, well, I mean, I guess I keep forgetting that this one gives us the actual time en route. We have 2 minutes and 40 seconds until we reach the next waypoint, so we don't really need to worry about calculating how long it's going to take. The other plane that we were flying did have that information, but you had to like go all the way down and look at it like this, because the position of the pilot in that plane was such that you couldn't see the other screen very well unless you turned to it or, you know, press the number 2 keypad or the number 2 button to move down to it. So I'm thinking that this is the Rosamond Dry Lake up here. It certainly looks like it used to be a lake, and it's very big and interesting. Not really too much to say about the actual terrain out here. There's nothing particularly visually eye-catching. I'm a big fan of the fields over there, though. If you watch I watch a channel called Smarter Every Day, and it's a very big channel, you probably know it, and he did an episode, I think it was just an episode, where they built one of those rotating water irrigation systems, and that was actually pretty cool the way those work. They have the outside unit as the deciding factor as to how the system aligns itself, and then all of the inside units basically adjust themselves to wherever that outside unit is. So that the outside unit moves at a consistent speed, and then all of the inside units adjust themselves based off of where that happens to be. Too much talking. I may end up having to abandon this series at some point, though, because I can't. I have 3 different videos at this point that I do every day that require me to basically talk the entire time. I mean, I guess I could start just cutting in between the points of interest. I don't know. I feel like that would really take away from the journey aspect of it, because you guys are here to watch flying, and if I'm just kind of jumping in between waypoints, that ruins the journey itself. If there was a way to do real-time time lapses in the OBS software, then I would be interested in doing that. But the entire point of most of this is that I'm not really trying to do any video editing anymore. I'm not interested in all the extra time it takes to go through and set all of that up and then wait for the render, and then all of that. It's just, at the very least, it doubles, if not triples, the production time to make one of these videos, and I have other things to do. It's not worth the time it takes to produce that kind of thing. Maybe at some point I'll get to the point where I have a dedicated video editor who will be able to increase the quality of my videos through that, but I have too many other things to. I don't have the patience to sit there and mess with all of that stuff and spend my entire day, editing and then waiting for renders and uploading. And there's just way too many other things to do, and I figured out a way to make it work without having to do video editing. So I would rather just do videos that I don't need to edit in the first place, and we'll see how it goes. I don't know. A National Historic Landmark, Rogers Dry Lake, part of Edwards Air Force Base, was used to test a number of experimental aircraft, including the Bell X-1, in which Chuck Yeager first broke the sound barrier, and space shuttle orbiters to land after returning from missions. I don't know. I think the way I read that sentence made it feel like it was weird, but it probably wasn't. So that was USR 08. I'm just making sure we're heading to the right point of interest. So this is going to be the dry lake up here where Chuck Yeager broke the sound barrier, and where they would land the shuttle if they landed it on this side of the country. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Seems like we picked a pretty decent altitude at which to fly, because we're close enough to the ground to see things, but not so close that I feel like we're going to crash. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But like I said, I have 3 different excuse me. I have 3 different videos where I basically talk the entire time. I do Elite Dangerous, which is my first one because it's well, I don't know. I have these all set up in order of difficulty as far as setting up for them. So the first video I record is my hunting game because that's just a mouse and keyboard game. I don't have to set up any equipment for that. And then I do Elite Dangerous right after that because I have a joystick that I use to fly that around. And then I do my truck simulator game, which I use the flight yoke I'm using right now as sort of a, you know, a jury-rigged steering wheel setup because I have the rudder pedals to use as my gas and brake, and then the yoke to turn with, and all of that stuff. And then I finish up here in the flight simulator because I already have it all set up, and it is the least performing so far as my videos go because A, it's the newest, and B, I'm not sure if the format is interesting. The metrics so far on these videos are suggesting that they are not, and if they continue to underperform, I have 2 choices to make. I can either figure out a way to make them more interesting, which would likely require either extensive cuts in the videos or doing extensive video editing, which absolutely is not going to happen. So, and the problem with putting cuts in is that you're basically just going to teleport from interesting waypoint to interesting waypoint, which I'm sure some people would find interesting, but you're going to miss out on all the scenery along the way. So the only other option would be to figure out a way to do real-time time-lapsing, which isn't a thing as far as I'm aware. Like recording, but it records it in such a way that the final product is a time lapse. So maybe it records 1 frame every 1 frame a second or something like that, so that it just kind of skips you forward as you go. There's no time compression. The time compression feature is turned off for these bush trips, so there's no way to make that work either. So here we are over the dry lake that they used for the space shuttle and for Chuck Yeager's sound barrier stuff and all of that kind of interesting things. Let's go ahead and move on to the next point of interest. We are heading towards maybe I should wait until we're actually over these points of interest. I think I'm reading these off too early, and then by the time we get there, we don't remember what we read. So I'll try to start. I'll wait till we reach the next one. I know I'm putting these out too early, but this next one is about 10 minutes away according to the GPS. So when I get to more than, say, 5 minutes or so of flight time, I start really seriously considering, and 10 minutes is a long time to sit between things actually happening. So I think I will go ahead and put a cut here, and then as we get closer towards the next point of interest, we'll bring it back. Alright, we are within 5 miles of our next point of interest, so let's go ahead and read that one off. From Rogers Lake, continue east-southeast over the desert to Hellendale Radar Cross-Section Facility used to test and develop low observable, i.e. stealth, aircraft. So, we're flying over some relatively, back in the day at least, top secret areas here. Take a quick look around to give you guys an idea of what the landscape looks like. Nice little water area over there, but yeah, not too much. The landscape out here is relatively featureless. Got some decent clouds going on, so that's always kind of nice, but for the most part, yeah, not really a lot. So, it's like I was saying before I cut here, I'm not really sure how to handle this series. I wanted to do the flight sim because I have the flight yoke, but at the same time, it's like, if I can't figure out, oh my god, I've gone back to saying like a lot. I need to cut that word out of my vocabulary. I pulled out the flight yoke because I have it and it was a gift and I want to use it, but at the same time, if it's not going to be something that is really adding to the channel, then I don't really want to expend the time on it. I'd rather find something that's actually going to engage people in a way that helps out with my metrics. So, I don't know. Hard decisions to make when you're deciding how you're going to do your lineup for your channel, especially when you're like me and you're trying to do 4 videos a day and you want to make sure that you're putting things up on your channel that have the best chance for growth. It's kind of counterintuitive because Microsoft Flight Simulator is such an insanely popular product. The problem is that because it's such an insanely popular product, I have to imagine that most of the people who are super into it have spent the money to actually buy the software and are playing it, so they don't really need to come sit and watch me. But I don't know. There are a lot of very popular content creators who do Microsoft Flight Simulator, and from watching them, it seems like they do a lot of editing for their videos, and I imagine that's probably the name of the game if I want to have any chance of garnering any kind of serious attention from people. And unfortunately, that's just off of the table for me. I'm past the point where I'm willing to personally do significant amounts of video editing for my channel. I'm the kind of person who I'd rather just try to get it right the first time and not have to go back and fix things. So I tend to have a very performance-based focus for when I'm doing these videos, and I try to be really cognizant of what I'm putting out there and how I'm speaking, and especially for like my hunting channel, I try to make sure I'm paying attention to, all right, is this going to be a boring part coming up next? Let me pause the recording so that I can just transition to the next interesting part. Fairly easy to do, because as long as there's not an animal in front of you or a point of interest in front of you or whatever, you can cut, and it's still relatively easy to follow because I can bring up the map and I can show people where I am as compared to where I was last time, and it makes it very easy to just record as I go and just capture all of the interesting stuff, because that's easy to do. And then for my Elite Dangerous stuff, it's the same as this right here. There's no real way to cut things out without making it feel really disconnected and all. Oh, here's a random thing that we're doing, and here's another random thing that we're doing, and here's another random thing that we're doing. So I spend the entire episode just kind of chatting with the audience in an attempt to kind of make the episode itself more about us hanging out together in space rather than, the content of the game itself, because realistically the game isn't particularly interesting on its own. So you end up having to compensate for that with hopefully a decent personality, I think, based on the engagement that I'm getting out of the videos so far. I'm guessing that's kind of turning out to be the case, but I don't know. It's hard to tell. At the same time, the trucking videos are the same format except in a truck, because there isn't really any. It's basically I basically have 3 videos right now that I'm doing that are all the same thing, just in different vehicles and in different locations. So obviously the Elite Dangerous stuff is in space. The trucking video stuff is the same thing in a truck, and then this right here is basically, ooh, my ear. Ooh. Sorry about that. My inner ear, ooh. I had a pressure change inside my head or something, and my ear just went, woo. Okay, come on. It won't go away either. That's annoying. Ugh. Okay, almost impossible to ignore that. It's all of a sudden, it felt like somebody jammed something in my right ear. Whew. Very weird, which is funny because I'm not flying. I'm actually sitting in my house. Anyways, so it's all the same. It's all the same format. It just doesn't seem like the people who are interested in the flight sim stuff are as interested in this format as the other 2 audiences appear to be. I would say that I just haven't given it enough time to kind of settle in and start gathering attention. But I mean, I did an entire bush trip already and a couple of other flights before that, and it seemed like the attention is just not starting to grab. Like I said, though, I'll finish out this bush trip, maybe do the Patagonia bush trip, and then if the metrics haven't really improved by then, I may start seriously looking at pulling this series and finding something else to do. I am interested in starting Farming Simulator. I have a very strong interest in starting the Farm Simulator, so if this series doesn't really perform all that well, I will probably grab that game and see if we can start a series on that. And the reason why that one appeals to me, outside of just I enjoy the idea of playing the game, it'll be something where I can put extensive cuts in it and not have to talk the entire time. So I can play the game and then just bring the audience in when there's interesting things happening, like stuff, you know, carving out a field or planting seeds or cutting down trees or whatever it is that I happen to be doing, and then I can just talk during the parts that are interesting and save my voice a little bit. I have a feeling that one of the reasons that this series is suffering, aside from the fact that I just refuse to do video editing for it, is that by the time I get to this video, I've already done 3 other videos, 2 of which require extensive amounts of continuous talking. So by the time I get to this, my voice is very worn out by then, and it's just kind of difficult to maintain the same standard of quality when I do that. So I'm thinking if I don't end up doing this, continuing this as my 4th video for the day, I may do 2 continuous talking videos and then 2 videos that have a lot of cuts in it, and that might balance out my voice for the day. Hopefully that'll work, but we'll have to wait and see. Because as you can tell, I'm having to stop to cough a lot because I've been talking all morning. And I don't have the kind of voice that's built to be talking continuously all the time. So we are within 4 miles of our next point of interest now. So we are at the site of Solar 1, which I'm guessing is this right here. Pass over the city of Barstow, and just to its east lies the site of Solar 1, an experimental solar power project. And then we're going to land at Barstow Daggett Airport, not very far away. So we'll go ahead and minimize that. I'm guessing that this is Barstow here, and that this over here is the solar. I don't know, it looks more like water to me. Alright, as I try to avoid hopping out of the plane, but I just want to get a chance to make sure we're actually going to see the solar site here. This looks like water, so what direction are we flying right now? Yeah, it says just to the east. Or is it this? Not sure where the solar panels are. That looks like it should be solar panels. I don't know. Yeah, this looks like... Oh, wait, maybe it's this. This might be it right here. Because that's definitely water. I'm thinking this is the solar thing that they were talking about. I'm also thinking that this is our airport, so we need to get back into the cockpit here. Get the autopilot turned off. Get our aircraft turning and descending. I'm gonna have to probably do a circle around to... Yeah, I have to circle around this. So I'll give myself a little bit of room to kind of come around over here, do a nice shallow circle. And then ideally by then we'll have bled off enough airspeed to bring out the flaps. And a little bit of power. I don't want to slow down too much. I'm going to do a relatively steep turn. Because we're mostly just trying to drop altitude here. And then we'll get on the ground and call it an episode. So I feel like I'm really glad I cut out that 10-minute segment there, because that would have made the episode 33 minutes, and that's a little bit longer than I really want to do. So pull back on the throttle just a little bit so we can... Ah, that was nice. I can't believe that actually worked. All right, so we'll pull back on the throttle to really start bleeding off some altitude here. As a matter of fact, we're going to slide a little bit, and come on, turn to the left, please. Turn to the left. Okay, that feels a little better. Get the flaps out to start slowing us down. Oh, whoa, that responded way harder than I thought it was going to. Nope, come on, get down. Okay, well that I don't know, I freaked out a little bit because I pushed in on the yoke and it just, the response I got out of the yoke was insane to me. I don't know if that was maybe a glitch or something, or if I just pushed way too hard and didn't realize it. I don't know, but that was really weird. Alright. Not the best landing in the world, but we got it. Okay, well, hopefully you guys had lots of fun. Be sure to click that like button so the YouTube algorithm knows that you did and sends the video out to more viewers. If you're not subscribed, be sure to do so now so that when the next video comes out, you'll be able to see it as soon as it becomes available. Channel members do get early access to all of my videos, so be sure to click that join button down below, see the list of perks that are available depending on the tier that you choose, and decide if any of those are right for you. Again, thank you very much for your time. I hope you guys had lots of fun, and I'll see you for the next one.